to the first edition of the Breakfast Show for this week. We will come to you live from Liberty Online TV. We will stream on Facebook, YouTube, and also on our website, we are powered by Orange Sierra Leone. We will bring this edition of the Breakfast Show come to you this Monday morning. My name is Nakadija Pandura.
And Mina Alice Maya Matue.
Well, inside of the Breakfast Show today, as always, on a say we bring cancer on issues them we don't be topic, and the World Bank and one of the development partner them for the Salon government inside last week them pull the Sierra Leone economic growth and challenges with this now the Sierra Leone economic updates when is reports where the World Bank can pull every year outside them can talk about challenge them and the growth there with the Salon economy they get, and this particular report where they pull for this year at the 7th edition, and inside the 7th edition it shows say the GDP growth slow from 4.3 inside 2004 and it go down to 5.7 inside 2003, and also it shows say mining activity them where they make the Salon government they get copper, it don't slow down, particularly from country like China we can come invest in the mining sector, and self job creation a constraint requiring 75,000 new jobs annually where the country is supposed for produce for maintain 51% employment to population ratio. Well, we can discuss the percentages them, the analysis the way they inside this particular report we get for do with the Sierra Leone economy. And at the studio this morning, one person we don't be consistent with this particular report where the World Bank in pull year in year out through a newspaper. It don't they cut excerpts them for inform the public about how the Salon economy they do. Now a colleague journalist and also a social commentator where Thomas Dixon we go can tell we more about some of the things them where the World Bank talk about inside this particular report where them been published inside last week. Good morning, Dixon.
Yeah, good morning.
All right. Well, as I tell we Fambolem, every year you don't work with the World Bank, and this is now the 7th edition of the Sierra Leone economic updates where the World Bank can pull every year for analyze some of the country in recent economic developments, them challenge them and set policy priority them for growth and also job creation. We just see USAID them publish a 52-page report. USAID they highlight different things them. Of course, inside this edition of the Breakfast Show, we're not going to talk about everything where the report say, but we'll try for highlight certain key area them where the report talk about, like the GDP growth, where they say slowed to 4.3% in 2004 and down from 5.7 in 2003, then go again for say mining activity them where be the give the government's money affected by weak global demand. We mean say because of the global activities them challenges the way the one whole world be done they get this BNTM, the mining activity them slow down, particularly from China where now one of the investment company them where be done they invest in the Salon mining sector. That not just small bit of the report who they can discuss this morning. Of course, we'll try for reach out to the Ministry of Finance, but the FS tell me say them busy with budget. Let we go to the World Bank for let them provide one of the economists them for can talk about the issues they were inside this particular report. So they try for get somebody from World Bank inside this week for can tell we but the figures them we come out inside this particular report. Dixon, as somebody who don't consistent year in year out, you don't report on this World Bank economic growth reports for this year we then just published last Thursday. You've been surprised for say the issues are still the same?
Economy now, see where they do propaganda about, because the economy show for itself. Figures, data, statistics, nothing that we know they lie. When you put them out, they are self-explanatory. So for me, I think there are lots of things we need for do. There are a few positives. And because this report, first of all, I want to see this report in the launch, when they launch this report, we are all expecting the people in the fiscal and monetary sector of this country, when are the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Sierra Leone for be represented. And because in the program of event, we are supposed to give, for example, the bank governor for the commentary, meaning government's own position on this report. But we see, say, both the Minister of Finance, we been in at the program, no attend, and the bank governor no attend. Rather, a director at the bank governor office, now represent them, and finally launch them. So the issues in this report, these are issues we all know, say they exist. For example, like inflation don't come down. We all know, say, inflation don't come down to single digit. It was highlighted in the report that inflation don't come down to single digit, and that the reason why make inflation come down, drop to a single digit because of tight monetary policy stance, increased domestic food production, decline in global and energy prices, exchange rate stability. These are a fact. Another issue where the World Bank highlights at this report now the fact say we bank them. That means the bank they will get Nasalo, they operate Nasalo. Then bank them. Then rather give, first of all, the banking situation as Sierra Leone is very stable, profitable. But we bank them rather give loan to, then rather give government guarantee, and then give to private individual. It go shock you for no saying that only 12% in bank then they give as loan to private companies, to people then when apply rather than prefer for where the World Bank say they crowd out private sector investments, meaning it is slow down, it make private sector not able to invest and not able to expand, especially small businesses. So they go because they get much more loan facilities from the bank. It said the risk to debt sustainability has worsened significantly with debt. It all worsened, despite the fact that public debt don't decline by 44% to GDP, but debt risk is still high, and they assess we as sustainable, predicted on strong fiscal adjustment and macroeconomic stability. This domestic borrowing, that means you remember what this government mean can they tell we say they need to do domestic borrowing. But we'll find out say over the years from 2018 to now, government resort to domestic borrowing for do the activities, meaning they borrow from the banks for do the activity. According to the World Bank, in May this year, that borrowing they don't cut down significantly. Where also the representative of the Bank of Sierra Leone also say another key way the World Bank highlights now we foreign reserve. You know, we suppose forget 3 months cover of foreign reserve, we for be something like around $500 million. In case of any shock and this, that, we go happen. But we foreign reserve don't deplete, meaning don't come down to 1.5 months. They don't come down to. And the reason why I make the World Bank say come down, now because of one, they say they spend them for expand goods and services, including travel expenditure, but particularly foreign travel. You know,
Dixon,
yeah.
Because go in depth to this tier point one.
Yeah.
But what I want to ask, you know, if government understand the numbers, them like when you look at all the different the different agents, the different side the way they report touching, where you look from your own perspective, possibly don't constantly they look into this. What do you feel is the big message where this report
well,
give?
these updates they try for tell government and get several reforms say we then do not the updates. Where they try for tell government see if government say they want for create job, it's focusing on job creation and empowering the private sector for doing. Government cannot create job alone. So waiting the report, the essence of this report now for tell government say the government need for focus on private sector investment in this country, either for empower the small and medium businesses, or government able for do that by creating the enabling environment, access to land. Then they recommend say government for carry with a competitive law, meaning government need for carry with a law where they protect the companies them or private individuals them companies them where they into the economy against unfair competition. We know they also they say we need forget we utility rights. That means say we need forget we water, we energy rights for attract private sector investment. We go provide this job. Mark you in the medium term manifesto of President Bill, it tell you say they provide 500,000 jobs by 2028. By the end of 2028, we are now in the we almost the midway of in 5 years, and we are not getting there. We are not getting there. So the World Bank, they say we go only get there if we're able to empower the private sector for coming. People the way they do small businesses for coming. Our government go able to do that and for give them the right infrastructure, the right policy for lady. Then forget, for example, forget e-court, we for able for settle. Where people are able to go and file them business matter, and then solve them. Not only for but for let them court and they operate. They can file online. When they file online, the court cable for adjudicate speedily. The report also they mention say the electricity. We are one of the country that we most business don't suffer from electricity. They say electricity will get for put them in place. We get for put water resources. Get for be effective. We get for put 10 things in place. So there are several recommendations. So the essence of this report now for Sierra Leoneans, young people. First of all, we get a huge demographic youth demographic with manning called demographic dividend. We mean say we get young people with beaucoup, but then young people and get it can either be crisis or it can either be a positive thing for government. If private companies and they're able to empower them, they get the right skills to be empowered. These things that are the essence of this report, telling governments that they need for focus on private sector investment, leverage private sector investment for their Sierra Leoneans and get job.
According to the report also, you say about the government, well, Salone need like 75,000 jobs every year for at least we even cover that, that poverty line. We need like 75,000 jobs. And the country, so far, the report say we get like a little over half of that. The report
number they say currently we produce 40,000 jobs a year.
A year.
For that we go meet meet the gap. We win at the average in West Africa. We need for the produce 75,000 jobs a year. But they recommend say for meet 2 million jobs in 2030. We need for the produce 100,000 jobs a year. So for this 100,000, how would they produce this 100,000 jobs? Government alone not able for give jobs to people them. So it is better that government empower small, medium enterprises. Government empower the private sector. Government for pull and pandem boku in the way then they borrow in a bank. Allow the bank then for begin for give facilities to SMEs, to private companies, then for let them be able for strengthening. For example, look at Liberty. It's employing young people. If they go in a bank for go get loan, they go give them all kind criteria, all kind the interest rate very high. So the essence of this report, bring down the interest rate, let people and go then borrow and let them employ more. If Liberty expand, let's say not just in Freetown, you get a Liberty, for example, in Bo, in McKinney, you are providing more jobs for people.
What's also say, instead of people then get bigger businesses, now more of them small business when they able to go because not the country because people money not they.
That is so
yes, and you say then the banks they even they scared for loan. They got the business the way they come up. Then they scared for loan them because most of them no register. I think they say like 75% no register, and inside that or 25% now we register. Like 12% now then they pay tax. So then they even scared because
the report they say most of we SMEs or small businesses they are the informal sector. So now government for come with a policy where then they bring this informal sector into the formal, they formalize the informal sector. And let government say they get revenue and let them informal sector. But when you get a situation where people they not get the resources for expand, for example, or you not get the basic training of how to operate them businesses, is also a stumbling block to growth. So for me, I think government gets a lot for do for ensure this report. They don't need for shy away from this report. There are several things in the report where I believe not favor government. where perhaps that make government the vex by this report and no one for talk on them. But there are also brilliant recommendations in this report where if government follow them, they go able for solve this problem of joblessness. We all know now, we all know the common phenomenon in our country of young people, most young people, because they're idle, they don't get, then they go resort to drug, then they resort to mental health and mental issues and so on and so forth. So government need to pay attention on this particular report.
Dixon, I read the report last night, and one thing will catch my attention, and it's good we as journalists them for the focus on some of them reports there, because when you look at last week, Budget Advocacy Network again pulled reports of the similar nature, and if you compare both reports, the issues are the same. So the World Bank and Budget Advocacy Network, basically they say the same thing. Reading at these reports under the fiscal performance and vulnerability, one thing will catch my attention. Now where the World Bank, they talk about weak fiscal discipline, where they undermine macroeconomic stability and also recurrent budget overrun and the high deficits. Where you listen to His Excellency in speech, where he just take over office in 2018, one of the things the President Bio emphasized on now for instill discipline in salon economy. But the World Bank here in here out, they talk about indiscipline in the way how governments they spend money. What are the missing link with waiting the president can talk and waiting can end up happen? Is it that now weak fiscal discipline then the country gets, or President we not able to get it somebody for handle the issues of the economy now in government?
First of all, I think say the budget advocacy report you write. Advocacy Network report, right? They talk about the what we for gain from tax exemptions, where we don't they give freely. So either companies say we want for law, businesses for come, and we lost a lot yearly. The World Bank reports they tell we about two things. They talk about fiscal discipline, and under fiscal discipline, the World Bank say it's a revenue loss. Money we would all lost, we forget from revenue. For 3 years, we lost about $24.7 million for the past 3 years because of EcoBank with regards to this same pattern. We still say currently the finance manager of NRE is on the run. Is a fugitive for short practices. So the World Bank, they say, in 3 years of this government, 3 years we didn't calculate them, Salundo lost about $24.7 million as a result of them transit bank fraud and the tax areas, contract non-compliance, unpaid royalties from e-passport sales, uncollected fees from fiber optic cable agreement, duty waivers. So it's the report similar to Budget Advocacy Network. And then the World Bank about expenditure, they also they say, in terms of expenditure, Salundo lost about $32 million over 3 years in terms of expenditure. Particularly, we gave a link to non-performance contract, missing procurement documentation, and inadequate supporting documents. Boku of them things that they don't make the country dollars about 32. Imagine these are huge money. These are money you can put and say you want for bill hospital. You want for bill hospital. The other time, Cap Power will need for pay about $40 million. You put $32 million and $24 million together, you pay Cap Power. So
you're not able to lock the leakage then with all them figures of missing money there?
No, the leakage, in fact, for me not to leakage again, the Samba got now get now. The leakage on widen because every now and then you hear the other day which happened with NRA staff then our Taki. About some containers that we pass, we not go through. And these containers get the perforated mark of NRE, the document then get them, but the money not reflect at the consolidated fund. Every now and then these things happen. So President be unable to lock the leakages. These are persist, the thing they continue. And then the World Bank also they tell we say, despite the fact say we don't improve in revenue generation, but we budgetary overruns. That means say we they spend money we not budget for. The budgetary overruns is too much. What they spend pound. You go see the last time I report say a certain company the way government pay about 60-something million for roads will not exist. I don't want to delve into that matter, but if you look at this report, the report they also pinpoints to that fact. They say persistent budgetary overruns reveal significant public financial management weakness. Expenditure execution overall suffers from non-performing contracts, inadequate documentation. The overruns in investment spending highlight weakness in public investment management, public financial management, as well as weak coordination between the Sierra Leone Roads Authority and the Public Investment Management Division of the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development and the Ministry of Finance to monitor the execution of road contracts in line with commitment and approved budgetary provision. So the World Bank, they also highlight something we're very keen on, where they happen either between and among Sierra Leone Roads Authority, the Ministry of Finance, where sometimes and they cannot even pay contractor. Then they pay and double for the same contract. Sometimes they pay contractor for even things that we not do. So the World Bank, they highlight when a budgetary overrun, now cost problem for them, we not been get up till now, we not get we budgetary support from IMF yet. Because IMF say we need for fix this budgetary overrun to spend on electricity and roads. For me, I can ask myself, where are these roads we then spend this budgetary overruns? Electricity, for it can be understandable, say we owe huge amount of money to Kapawa. And that is if we know the bloat the money where we go for pay to Kapawa. But to get huge debt. But when you look at the roads, and this now highlights a certain media practitioner go is saying call World Bank. This is World Bank report is in there that we are spending hugely on roads. And then they call for a coordination, a proper coordination, because the World Bank self not they believe say their money that way government they say them pay on the roads if we need to see the road. If they make road, we all this year. Say they make road from here to yonder. But we are spending money. For example, you spend that huge amount of money on roads, and then you've not seen the roads. Where are the roads? This is the question we are asking. Where are the roads? And this is the same thing the World Bank is saying here, that there should be proper coordination between Sierra Leone Roads Authority and the Ministry of Finance. The other day, last year, December, you remember I said them pay somebody go withdraw na one bank na month. Where the person, where then go withdraw the Ministry of Finance alleged staff then go and then pay this money. The another person go withdraw them. Where the person no actually waiting for get this money, no get them. And he raise alarm. So these things are occurring. Then they happen every time between Ministry of Finance and Sierra Leone Roads Authority. So that is why the World Bank is saying, for stop these huge budgetary overruns, things they own no budget for. Well, now on a budget, now on they spend. It actually they affect the economy. For example, if you talk about fiscal discipline, and why make President Bio, for example, get it wrong, most of the travelings where the World Bank highlight, say would they spend hugely, would all loss of forex hugely to goods and services, including overseas travel. Most of this travel, they are not budgeted for. That is why, for example, the Ministry of Finance created a special account at the Bank of Sierra Leone, then dubbed Presidential Traveling Account. There's a special account there because they know say the president elect travel. So they put this account there for presidential travel account. So and there you get some of these things. Not to way I make us say. I tell you at the beginning, say economy not to tell you they make propaganda about. The facts and figures are there. For example, where inflation can down to a single digit, we all attest to that. Say on paper, inflation don't can down to a single digit. It is a left now for let this inflation reflect on the average man in pocket. A left now for let this thing reflect. And this report also they say since after the COVID, poverty don't increase in this country. And we know they get the report they say don't tell or get actual statistic on poverty, but then use a process where they say poverty, the level of poverty now Sierra Leone since after COVID don't increase drastically. Well, I mean, the government need for pay attention. That is why they are recommending for job creation, because people are poor. What they will resort to. That's why most young people are resorting to drug, because they are poor.
Dixon, what's not the reason we make lower inflation not reflect to the prices them? What's not the reason?
The economists then go able to explain that better. But me no, I find it very difficult for explaining why But when you read this report, and they tell you about slower growth. Inflation can down, but growth is slow. It has been muted, it's slow in 2024 and has remained that way in 2025. So despite inflation on candle, there is less growth. So people are not able to see this money, now they're not able to feel it in their pocket. You understand? For example, we get with dollar, exchange rate they say is stabilized, it's stable. Although they think say that way inflation they can down, because waiting me they see in Ghana from their economic analysis, which are the CD, in just 1 year, inflation can down in Ghana. So a single digit. But it's reflected on the dollar rate. Dollar can down drastically. It's reflected on the average man in Ghana in pocket. So for we now, inflation can down, but for the foreign exchange, the exchange rate between the leons and the dollar remain the same. We'll not see the can down.
I think the inflation rate can down is the only good thing where you can point.
Well, yeah, it's the only good thing, but there are good things here where the report they recommend to government for do. For example, they tell government say, una for expend within una limit. Una avoid overruns, budgetary overruns. Una left for spend above the budget. If una want spend above the budget, if una want spend more, una put under the budget. So there are a lot of things on the good
in
side.
As much as
and the reports also they mention, also they talk about say we get mining. The report they mention say yes, there is huge mining in one of the area the way they increase with economy, with figures, but at the same time, mining not they produce enough job for people. This brings me to the fact the point is what's in the local Sierra Leone local agency. They get this local content agency they do. Because a lot of activities in the mining company. For example, if a mining company, foreign mining company can mine as alone, we expect say people like finance manager, public relation officer, business development officer. These are skills that will get as alone. But go to some of these mining companies. They take a PR agent from outside. They take auditing institution from outside. They take a lot of these things from outside. They know they give this job to we local people and for let them do. I've been to a mining company, a Chinese mining company. I will not name them here, where the director of communication, not Chinese. What is he communicating to Sierra Leone in a mining company, for example? So you get the director of finance. You want to tell me say people and they win financial, we get financial expert in this country. So you get there are a lot of things where we need for the do. Where I think certain agency and to be honest, the local content agency, then don't be recently in the monitor. I've seen few reports where they don't go now some companies them, they don't highlight say no, this one not for do one for bringing a Sierra Leonean for do one, but the follow up. And sometimes they can independent and you get one call from somebody within a higher authority tell them say una stop. Una not go yonder again. So there are a lot of these things. So despite the mining, we get mining at this country, but mining they produce slower, they produce enough job.
Dixon, the World Bank say Salon external accounts them, then they under serious pressure despite improvements on the trade balance. And the report also states the current account deficit in narrowed down to 4.7% of GDP inside 2004, where now because of strong cacao exports. And also it talk about the international reserve which declined to 1.5 months of imports covered by August. All of the issues there, if you relate them to what IMF they say, now the same things themselves they say.
Well,
the question of donor confidence in the bio-led administration.
Well, the question of donor confidence is drastical, is slowly winning. Meaning is slowly the donor confidence slowly they come down. As I talked to during the launch of this report, I talked to somebody close to the IMF. And he tell me say the same. Some of these analyses are the same when it comes to IMF now for put out. And I say why are you guys still giving budgetary support? Well, he say we are not doing it. We are looking at the people. We are not doing it for government. If we say they withhold funds, the people of this country will suffer. So as you rightly say, the current account deficit don't narrow higher than expected due to higher than expected export, were largely due to iron ore and cocoa export. Then merchandise imports recovered, but growth is slow due to improved domestic production. They highlight PC and Sons. You know, say PC and Sons, don't they do a lot of onion production? They highlight Capital food, where they do this, then they do chocolate and they do juice. So there are several good things about Sierra Leone in terms of private company where they do well, where the World Bank mentioned. And when it comes to the forex reserve, they say it don't fall between now 1.5 months. We mean say now 1 month and half. Now in this as at September this year, that means 2 months ago. That's so we reserved them. And then they say now because of external debt service payments, we get for a lot of payments who they do, we get for paying forex. They say now the fiscal spending on goods and services will include travel expenses, and then they say payment of energy areas, which we owe Power and other energy service providers. So for me, I think say there is the confidence, the donor confidence in the government slowly they reduce. So the government need for do more, and the Ministry of Finance are responsible for fiscal policy. The Bank of Sierra Leone are responsible for monetary policy. So these two people who are in charge of the economy of this country, they need for do more for regain that confidence again, and for both the World Bank. You know, when the World Bank, the IMF give you clean bill, you also they get youth support from other partners like EU. They are all waiting on some of these people to give. If the World Bank and IMF not give clean bill, then there is a problem for you.
Dixon, we look at the feed salon. Now, one part of the recommendation where they say prospect day if we're going to agriculture. Yeah, you see with them.
Well, so far there's some amount of progress because the local production actually lead to it don't slow down importation of some goods according to the report. So there is a little progress. All is not wrong with regards the feed salon. If we able for the other day I listened the president on Nakambia where they talk say we all need for plant. We all no need for plant. If we able to get private sector investment into agriculture, for feed a country to individual farms, the feed country. Now private sector investment, now in the feed country into agriculture, now in the feed country, now go make, like for example, we mentioned the onion production, Lungi, with PC and Sons do. Now private sector investments. Recently, they get huge support from IFC, not so individual. We makes like by now we don't in onion crisis. We make this onion crisis stop. We don't limit importation of onions. You look at cacao, where then they do now where capital they buy from local farmers for transform them into chocolate. These are private sector investments. So that individual farm, all money for going to farm. I think that is not the way to go. A feed salon for succeed, government get for law, private sectors, private investment into feed salon. But if you say, if the president loosely talk, say, hey, everybody give them need for get farm, not everybody will be farmer. The president can get farm for a model, a farm for show say, really I want this thing for succeed. But the president and the government should also ensure say them bring in huge private sector investment into agriculture for we able for meet this the priorities in the feed salon agenda.
Now we look at the debt sustainability and risk. When one of the things the way the World Bank highlights inside this report what they discussed this morning. And then the bank says salon they face heightened risk to debt sustainability due to budget overruns and high borrowing cost. They also talk about the risk of debt distress is assessed as high as debt service to revenue estimated at 125% in 2004. For somebody who not unfamiliar with the bank, then reports there and the figures the way they can put go on for say these are very alarming figures than this coming from the World Bank, Dixon.
Yes, the World Bank they say despite the fact that public debt don't decline to 44% of GDP at the end of 2024, but debt sustainability risk remain high. Then they say the reason why make it remain high are due to notable liquidity crisis. Number one, they say high debt servicing and high rollover risk. The high debt servicing, that means say we they pay beaucoup money for service with debt, then particularly with external debt. And then they tell we say debt risk are high and are assessed as sustainable. They say domestic borrowing, for example, is huge. But government, the person who represents government now the launch say that's actually don't reduce. Domestic borrowing don't reduce. Now they don't try for fix that for let them reduce them drastically. If we're not able for, if we revenue for money not able to they generate, not able for like facilitate or pay with debt, then we are in crisis. Even at the continuing economic updates we pull recently, they say the revenue they generate is not enough for able for sustain with debt, where they give a lot of challenges to government. And some of these challenges, then debts here. So the World Bank also make a recommendation, say government actually get for look at priorities. A well coordinated for coordinate certain things. And before you give contract, you get for ensure say the money day. But you know, go give contract money no day. Go give contract money no day. That's and then debt and then just the add more debt. So the World Bank they say we need for sustain with debt within which they generate as revenue. But as it is now, we are not doing that. Efforts have been made according to the report for we debt come down, but we get a very, very high debt and we revenue they generate not enough for sustain that debt.
With all this kind, headache and all the kind boku in the would affect the economy. You feel like say we get hope in the next year before Dr. Pabio time they done?
Well, for me, I think say if government's able for follow some of these recommendations, mark you this report to come year in, year out, and also government able for follow audit recommendations. Because not to say audit, some of them things they are audits not the highlight them. If you read the audit report, then they highlight some of these things. Contract away they not deliver on, contracts away they're able for provide explanation for, and just this year we get a parliamentary account committee way strong. They're able to recover about $2 million according to the Sierra Leone economic update. When the Minister of Finance the pool. So if we get a very good public account committee, some of them money they already lost, they can able for recover.
But when they see outside the deputy speaker where they sit under PAC there as the chairman, it really they come on then they count an MDA there, where can fail for give account, but the money we government
Now that make the I tell you say because of in robust nature. Say for the past 3-4 years, we'll not be able to get public account committee on audit report. But since we're honorable Tawa Conte come as deputy speaker and chair of the PAC, public accounts committee, we not able for just this year recover $2 million of stolen money. Imagine if we may not operate PAC, the public accounts committee in a parliament be robust and strong before. How much money they for don't recover?
The issue now is now how people there when President Biyo appointed them, he puts them for be like a gatekeeper and then different MDA there. How come then kind billions of Leonia they get missing now until it reach to audit stage, it go na the PAC before they're able for pick them up?
For me, I think say some of these MDs, then some people that with the president cannot be everywhere. But some of the people that we put, the people that we trust, say for help and for manage the country. And if some people they actually don't misperform, we don't lead to loss of revenue or loss of money. I think say the president for take action by either sacking some of them, let them go we tell that people in camp. And sometimes audits is a process, then they can't force to you highlight which and don't see for they provide explanation. Some of them they provide no explanation. Then they wait till the thing go to parliament. So when it goes to parliament, it is the duty of the public account committee for ensure say them money they recover. That is why some of we they praise the effort of honorable to our country, because we may not see audit report from 2018. Audit report year in, year out. Year in, year out, they highlight the same issues. But we'll not be to see a robust public accounts committee able for bring MDAs them na parliament for ask them for let them they return those monies or return or explain about the way they expend government money. So for me, I think say the president need to take action. If somebody is finding wanting of audit queries, I think enable for provide explanation, some form of reprisal, some form of measure for there against this person. But we know the get in our country. Which will the get in our country na sort of people then go Lord, then go praise the person even when the person don't fall, then they praise them. Hey, because it provides maybe half cents for people them. But the audit report, if we follow them, sometimes World Bank will get little work for do. If we follow audit, it's still in the report. In this World Bank report, they still highlight the essence of audit queries and audit finding. And from that, they realize Sierra Leone would all lost about $24 million in terms of revenue, would all lost about $32 million in 3 years in terms of expenditure.
All right, in case you just tune in, you watch the breakfast show, and today we look at the World Bank report where then just released, and this is the Sierra Leone economic updates by the World Bank where they can pull every year for talk about the economy of Sierra Leone, the fiscal policy the way government can put in place, within the successes and self they can highlight the challenges where this particular policy then can get for let government go able for implement them for let them go get fiscal discipline in the country, especially the Ministry of Finance, where they sit in the position of being the fiscal advisor to His Excellency the President. So we discuss some of the things that we come out from this particular report. And Thomas Dixon there with me at the studio. When I journalist for a very long time, he don't they cover this World Bank report and he don't they highlight some of the issues them where they come out inside there. We they try to get somebody from the Ministry of Finance, but then say they're busy first with budget and for reach out to the World Bank, we pull the reports. Dixon, one other thing where the World Bank highlights na poverty and economic challenge. The World Bank say, according to the World Food Program, the report say 82% of the population na salon food insecure, with 18% severely food insecure. We mean say 82% of the population, they know they getting for it. 18% out of this 82% now they're severely food insecure. And we look at governments, they celebrate last week in Cambia 2 years of the Feed Salon initiative, where now one of the initiative them where President Biobin come with for ensure say salon people and grow waiting and they eat and encourage everybody for begin to farming.
The World Bank reports a very clear. I say poverty in Sierra Leone has worsened significantly since COVID-19, with high inflation, limited jobs, outdated data, hindering accurate assessment and effective policy response. They say poverty now a persistent economic challenge to Sierra Leoneans. And the World Bank report, they say the February 2024 edition of the World Food Program Food Insecurity Report indicated that 82% of population were food insecure. Among these, 18% of households are severely food insecure. So this is actually they show say we need to do a lot. As I say, feed salon slowly we do something because some amount of things that will be in the import they don't reduce. But at the same time, we need a lot for able for bring this figure down. With regards food, 82% of the population. Meaning, 8 out of every 10 Sierra Leoneans food insecure. Now, the best way that you can put and let the layman understand, 8 out of every 10 Sierra Leoneans we pass, 8 food insecure. Not get the way they eat. And you know they see the faces of people. They are people, even the president talk the last day, say people and the vex where no eat. There are people and the level of vexation, the level of anger in our country. It clearly they show say there is poverty, there is hunger in this country. Imagine who then have free tongue now. Think of the people within the provinces, how then they live. Think how then they live. So government need for do a lot. Government need for do a lot. It's not as I say what's that? Economy, not so propaganda. That's what you see. If economy good, if the indicators, if the figures are good, it reflect on the lives of people. We were there when a certain minister at the launch try for challenge the poverty statistics. Say waiting at this poverty where they think talk about. There are parents, my sister, when they wake up in the morning for let them give them picking lunch. It's difficult in Freetown.
Is that bad?
It's very bad. Just go around and see. Just me and the boss when they move around and they talk to people. There are parents where they find them very difficult for sending them picking in a school. There are family where they find them very difficult for eat 3 times per day. Good meal for eat 3 times per day. And we have all of these politicians making all sort of statement propaganda because they know they can't down to the people. They know they know. A good some of them report here they come out and let government they read them, let them they see some of these things. Then they know say the world not there in a vacuum anymore. They're not in a vacuum anymore. Where you go say you lie for people. There are statistics, there are figures to some of these things. And the World Bank, they support their statement with the closing data gap on this poverty. They support her with the closing data gap, where improving poverty estimate in Sierra Leone, where they show how poverty actually don't increase at this country. So since COVID time, poverty don't. COVID count in own things, not just in Sierra Leone. COVID all over the world. Some people and they were after COVID they become poor all over the world. But if the level of poverty is so high in your country, it's a threat. Poverty is a threat to governance, is a security threat. We need for look at what is happening in places like Madagascar and other places. We need for try for let we tackle poverty. The essence of government. Now for remove people out of poverty. Remove people out of take care of people and basic needs.
You're not journalist, Dixon. You don't see the reports there don't go different, they go and come, go and come. What do you really feel as a lone problem? What's now we problem from government side, from people what's now we issue?
We lead that and they treat this country, the people of this country that with neglect. They know the way they want for Kamna power, they will make all kinds of statements. And some of them report here, they can put on their manifesto. Not that they say and they put out their manifesto and then say, oh, can so good do. But no sooner than can, they get a laissez-faire attitude to leadership. You get a president where out of every month in the travel treaty, full term, people are languishing in poverty. That money where the president they travel. So say they go graduation in Nigeria, they go tell Osh for begging in Ghana. Those are monies you could put together. Those are money you could support NACSA. Because NACSA actually gets money where they give to low-income families. Give it to NACSA. Let them increase them for give low-income families. But my sister, the politicians, our leaders, they are very, very treacherous. They are wicked. Not that they need to see some of them things, then they see them. They know. But because they enjoy all the power now, and they enjoy the money, they get access to the resources, they abandon the people. They abandon the people. And look at the president in 2018, the song where them sing for him, say, Tolombo no go sidona angry boku. Angry has worsened, according to this report. Under Madabio in government, angry don't worsen. Poverty don't increase. So Madabio, he left 2 years for him. For me, I always remind them, say, a need for left a legacy with Sierra Leone go member for. A very good legacy with Sierra Leone go member say, this, Madabio in second coming, now this he left for me. But what you see, there is little who go able for remember Madabio. If some of these things you not try for, bring poverty down. Now you don't try, you don't bring down inflation. It's all about let this inflation who don't come down reflect in the pockets and purses and the pots of people.
President Bio during in campaign under the new direction manifesto, we get a significant figure in that campaign when JJ Safar, we immediately when he make a finance minister. The popular phrase we Sierra Leonean and can remember JJ Safar for now the bread and butter. Then they tell people and say cookery being very expensive and when they kind 6 months and they fix the economy. And then they tackle the issues of bread and butter. For a government who campaign under the mantra of fixing bread and butter, now 7 years down the line, we they see World Bank, they quote the World Food Program report, say 82% of Salon population, they're angry. 18% severely food insecure. President Biodo able for do that promise, that campaign promise of tackling bread and butter?
No. Bread and butter issue. When you talk about bread and butter issue, it not just mean say now what you eat. It also mean how you sleep, how you live. It just mean the living of people, how people and they live. I will tell you say clearly President Bio not tackle. JJ Safar was been just propaganda for Kana power. There is no way you go transform the economic now as journalists them, we politicians they make statements now for assess the truthfulness or whether that statement they actually do away kind of power. I go tell you say the bread and butter issue is still a significant issue. As World Bank say, poverty don't increase, food insecurity. In our country, 8 out of every 10 Sierra Leonean we pass angry, they not getting for it. They not not able for live as human being, and it's so sad that this they happen in our country. And people and they treat the people of this country, those in power, and they treat the people of this country with total neglect. So for me, I think let we begin for assess the statement. JJ Safar was just making propaganda. Under JJ Safar, we get the worst economy in Sierra Leone as Minister of Finance. The worst inflation was around 52%. Food inflation was around 40% under JJ Safar. It was the worst as Minister of Finance. It was when the second coming of BO, when we get this man, Fantamadi, that we see inflation reduce, and now don't they see single digit. But again, INSEF, according to the World Bank, one mistake where they make na the Sierra Leone, it didn't the report. Sierra Leone mine in Mineral Development Corporation. The World Bank say both the SLMMDC and the Mineral Wealth Fund have begun operation with a functional board. The World Bank they say the SLMMDC don't put pressure upon the budget because our government now they pay staff of SLMDC. Meaning this own design we don't go design so for who can Salon government can own mining company in a joint corporation, again forgets a huge effect on the budget going forward negatively.
You know, Dixon, it's good sometimes for we as the media practitioner then they try for make comparison on the statements where the politician can make to that of them statements there where donor partner them can make. And now when you look at the pattern, the donor pattern then at the country. Then say they implement them programs them. They not they give government again for implement some of these programs. If then they give them say then they work in partnership with them. When you look at all of these things where the World Bank states, now things them where President Bio campaign under, especially during 2018, he said a lot of things under the New Direction Manifesto. One other takeaway standouts in this World Bank report, now utility services and infrastructure challenges. Of course, the report say inadequate and unreliable utility services, which means say water, good roads, lights, but they lay emphasis particularly electricity, where they say severely constrained growth. And the report says 64% of the population not get access to electricity. with this, me and Yusuf able to attest to that because we are running our businesses as media practitioner. We know how much they spend by electricity. But electricity now one hold on the government don't spend plenty money per under the cap powership. But World Bank they say 64% of the population not get access to electricity. Who side the money then they go Dixon?
Kapawa na a private company where they provide services to government, where government they pay at the end. Sometimes they owe them and then they pay them. For me, I think there are lots of potentials in this country for low able for generate electricity. Through the World Bank, we not do the unbundling of the energy sector. Now we may say through that unbundling, they will able to get private individuals and now we able to provide electricity and sell them to government. Would they get electricity also from CLSG, where they come all the way Cote d'Ivoire. We also they get from Bumbuna. There are several people that they sell electricity to government. But as you say, government not spend huge money in providing electricity, and the electricity even at Freetown, they go on and go on and off, epileptic, and they create they actually constrain growth. For example, about 47% of businesses don't complain say the electricity not reliable. Where they make most businesses close down. Because if the money where you for spend for employ people, if you spend for buy generator, buy fuel, for run you office, you actually not able for employ anybody. So that's also the slow down employment opportunities for young people. So in any country we want for go before we want for grow, that country they need for generate electricity for people. They need for provide water for people. So these are basic things. We by now for don't done with electricity. Look at Bumbuna. Bumbuna, we are still struggling to complete phase 2. Still struggling to complete phase 2. A serious country. They try for put resources for complete some of these things. Bumbuna create other facilities, enlarge. We get a lot of renewable energy potentials in the country. You know, that is why the Mission 300 project is a good project for Sierra Leone. If we're able to leverage private sector investment, that's what the Mission 300 is saying, leverage private sector investment into the energy potentials of your country. For them to be able to sell this electricity to EDSA able to sell and to we. I know say there is also a reform going on in EDSA for the commercial department of EDSA, let them privatize them. Wherein a private company they can run the commercial department so that government no go able for no go pay debt again to Kapawa na EDSA go able for pay the debt. So if a private company, I know that particular project it don't reach to a level now where they don't get a company where for do them. So if they do them, even the idea of electricity theft go constrain. But it is a fact that 64%, if you go now the provinces, there are efforts being made for let get the rural electrification project. There's some pattern at the provinces, at the rural areas, they don't get electricity. But we are still behind. And we need for meet that one day, if we need for provide, the World Bank they say if we need for provide this 500,000 job will be promise. We need for they provide 2 million jobs by 2030. Some of these utility tasks, infrastructural challenges, we need for overcome them.
When we look at the revenue, very important because anytime where government officials come out to the media and they say government they run through domestic revenue, now waiting and get that give them now in then they spend. But the World Bank they say now the revenue performance in the first half of 2025 now be mixed. Women say expenditure they below the targets. The issue of expenditure again keeps coming. Any bullet points that they report, World Bank, they talk about expenditure. Government they spend past waiting and now they generate for them.
Yeah, as I say in my statements, we actually, in terms of generating revenue, we know they do much. We know they generate enough revenue for able for put both with expenditure and with debts they will take. So then they create constraint for government in the budget in how government they do things. But there are lots of things where government, for example, go able for do for for remove some of them things there. The World Bank recommend them that there should be some form of reforms in the revenue sector. It in the report, where it will automate with tax processes. We go able for actually get enough revenue. The World Bank they say domestic revenue collect. It's a revenue rose significantly in 2024 to 9.5% of the GDP and 1.8 percentage points higher than in 2023. This outturn can be attributed to several factors: implementation of tax policy, they say compliance, tracking and enforcement, execution. So there are a lot of things where government can do for increased revenue. Then you get also this revenue theft where they happen. Where, as I say, we don't get a revenue loss of $24 million in 3 years. Where if not a big money, we can able for use part of our for peak car power, we can able for use part of our no need for, we can able for use that $24 million day for equip with hospital. We no need for go big to donor for do am. But then money they need to go in an individual pocket. Imagine if a revenue officer down, and some of these things is not government. Some of these things is the people working at National Revenue Authority. Take government money where they affect how people and for live. Then you get this over expenditure where the report keep the mention out of the budget expenditure about government. They spend a lot of money waiting in no budget. Even at your home, if you get 500,000, you want to live above 500,000, no problem. Pass you the way and take debt. So now that's that's government they do. Government know they get beaucoup money, but government want for spend like say they get beaucoup money. Government officers they want for travel more. From the president down to the least government appointees, they want for travel. All program they want for attend. They want for ride the best car. You see them, they say then the government they procure Land Cruiser, the latest Land Cruisers, and they want for ride. They want for dinner an office where all things conducive they. So all of these things, all of these expenditure, where you look at them, government they over expend. The government they spend more than what in government they get.
Let me look at the borrowing. Now, one way the report talk about, especially domestic borrowing, then say it comes from 29.3% inside 2023 to 40.8% inside 2024, but it go down by 15.7% inside May 2025. Women say then do something right, but they're not able to sustain this thing where they do right.
Well, what will happen in terms of domestic borrowing is part of the IMF recommendation that government need that government need for decrease the interest rates on domestic borrowing. First way government may the borrow at them bank, but for so the bank then they really for trust government, because if you trust government at 41% interest rate, by next year you go get money. So when you watch all level bank whether they declare say I don't declare profit. They're actually doing business with government and not with the people. Even for financial inclusion, according to the report, the mobile money more don't make people not financially included. Inclusion on day than the banks. So the banks are not doing well. They rather work with government for get more money than for work with a private an SME for that SME they grow and able for invest and get more jobs. But it is good that governments don't reduce this interest rate, don't reduce to 15%, where they make some banks they now go think and say no, now not lend to government, now try for support, and the banks then they need for think out of the box innovatively. If we get a buoyant private sector, a buoyant private sector, they go to the banks. This money they go to the banks, you make more profit. But over the years, not just this government. All the government, Mark UJJ Safasebi, the talk say they know they resort to domestic borrowing for pay salary. But I tell you, say government they resort to domestic borrowing, they have been resorting to domestic borrowing from 2020 for pay salaries. So anyway, them company there, they're like, and this World Bank don't they tell government say, una left for the trust money to the banks, because the banks they're comfortable. They don't want for go now and go take a client, an SME, because the bank, the idea of say an SME not get the capacity for take a loan, I don't think say that idea. A bank, the banking can it provide a template for you, it guide you, it give you loan, how for invest this loan, say you pay in debt back, then go guide you to. There are processes where banking, but the banks in this country, they focus on actually doing business with government than doing business with and develop a private sector in this country.
We see World Bank give different recommendations.
Yes, yes.
You know, but Madam just get 2 years for the term done. So also you feel saying that the way go pan, what's recommendation where if you say go do quick, we're gonna make able get some legacy for FBN?
For me, I think there are lots of reforms we need for do. Those are hanging fruit we can do easily. Reform the revenue area, cut down on the expenses. Like for example, the president cut down on the expenses. Say for example, next year, and they travel so again as president. And this policy they extend that to ministries, departments and agencies, cut down on that travel expenses. If they begin seeing from you, the president say, the president not the travel again, no. That they send a signal down to the last man within a government say, no, the boss say they travel again. Myself, cut down on the travel. Cut down on expenditure we no needed. Follow through contract where you don't give to somebody. Follow and through for let implement them. Let's get with infrastructure and with utility rights. Try for provide a way for let Guma make money. Provide a way for let EDSA make money. Now there is a way that EDSA then they can commercialize, the commercial department will be privatized. Then for let EDSA make money, let EDSA go able to pay their own debt. So then they pull that stress on government. And EDSA go able for foot that building. So when you watch again, we parastatals, government parastatals, most of them know they do well. And also government for the report, they say government for introduce competitive law. What's that is competitive law? If, for example, all the banks, you get the private banks, they are competing with state-owned banks. But if there is a competitive law in this country, it will protect all man. You understand? So most people then go willing for can do business in a salon than then go elsewhere. If you get electricity actually they improve the business climate. If you get if you get water then look at the city. It is difficult. You wake in the morning, you see people picking up for go school, then they go get water. Fend for go get water. It is difficult. Government not able to provide water for even its citizens. These are basic things. Water, electricity, where government for able to try for do. And the World Bank don't make this process easy for we. Make private company they sell to EDSA. So like where the World Bank be recommending now, let them privatize the EDSA commercial department. That company where they can put their money. It go create a way wherein it go know that the thief light. It's easier now. There are technologies where you put now where you go easy track who that the thief light. And you make that person they pay. So now that they can get that, they remove that extra pressure from government in terms of budgetary overruns. So there are a lot of things with regards to road contracts where government need for also, as the report say, proper coordination between Salon Roads Authority, the Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Development. There should be proper coordination so that we not get that issue of $60-something million we then pay to a certain company where we not see road.
Let me talk about the potential where World Bank say the private sector gets. But before the country begin to realize this potential where the private sector gets, World Bank say the government need for provide comprehensive reports where them believe say the private sector need for let this sector then go able to see in potential and also create job, because job now one of the things that we World Bank emphasize on say salon people they not get work for do.
Yeah, we provide job, but the job is very low. And the minimum at the average in West Africa, we provide the average is about 60%. But we now like a 50%. We mean a very, very low. And the World Bank, they say government need to get a comprehensive report of the private sector in this country. And then tell we say the private sector is an economic giant. They contribute to like 90% of job, 70% of output. Even at the government own national development plan, they recognize the role of the private sector. But going forward, job challenge it remain in our country. We mean say government need for provide for equip the private sector, because government cannot employ everybody. Currently, government is the biggest employer in this country, but government no they employ everybody. For let government for let get jobs, government need for create the business environments, the perfect environment for let people employ. That is why then they say they need for do an assessment of private sector. Within the report also they say in terms of private sector, they say we private sector in a saloon is dominated by small and micro farms. We basically then at the informal sector, small farms, even at the media, the small farms they now will not get larger company. And also they say foreign ownership now country of companies then limited. You not get people foreigners they with the own company. The World Bank they say the farm then they face challenge in expanding employment. And they face that challenge they say limited competition not the where they stifle the growth. And the World Bank say within the constrain farm them for go na salon, na land, finance, and electricity. We na then the constrain farm them for go na this country. So then compare Sierra Leone to other countries them in the report, where some countries then they do very well in terms of utility service. You go then compare Sierra Leone, get one of the lowest utility service na we then compare with to Ghana, to Côte d'Ivoire, to Botswana. So, and access to finance is the major issue we make most companies they face. Government need for work with the banks. The Bank of Sierra Leone need for work with the bank and see how them give them banks they go make companies them, small companies them get access to finance. If you look at the big companies today in the world, they started small. They started small and then go. Because they get access to financial facilities, they get access to electricity, they get access to water. So then go small. So if we banks them, they are just comfortable. If they are just comfortable in doing business with government, they are contributing to stifling the growth of small companies.
You talk about foreign investors.
Yeah.
No? When you look at the salon landscape, you feel say foreign investors then see salon as serious destination for business.
No. Because for law foreign investor, there are certain things that we need for put in place. You need to get the correct infrastructure. You need the utility service them. You need for day. You need to get the correct law. In terms of land, land administration is very corrupt. We not get a simple process how people will get land. We get the statutory way for get land, you get the customary way for get land in this country. So there are a lot of issues where they actually stifle foreign investors' investment in Sierra Leone.
But we see the presidents most time they outside the defend.
Well, if you
and they spend more money into the inside than they. So what you
that's the problem where me don't they see. You don't need for you say you go market your country. For go out there and market this country. Put the correct things in place. Let the correct things in at the country. Investors will come. And to be honest, where you say you go travel for go sell your country image, what you go sell? Where access to land na problem, electricity na your country na problem, water na problem. Because after all you don't talk, these foreign investors, what they will do, they will go online, they will search, and when they search, also trade where you go say pass a travel now, where they search and they see some of these statistics from these organizations, and where they actually they water down the whole idea of you image selling or image making of the country.
The question now is, sorry Alice, the question now is, now if government official them, particularly the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Sierra Leone, the National Revenue Authority, can even get sessions for watch at some of them statistics there, where organizations like World Bank repeatedly they bring out year in year out with the same issues.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have time to look at it, because some of them figures there, for example, if the Minister of Finance therefore go give a budget statement in Parliament, some of them things I get for incorporate them. You know, and sometimes they have meeting with some of these international bodies and they meet and they discuss some of the issues that before some of their report. In fact, some of their report then they preview to them before they get them. So they know about them. This is not way them for just look at some of their recommendations and try for implement them. These are not rocket science where you go say difficult for them to implement. Some of these recommendations are basic. Automate the system, put checks across. Let it difficult for less some auditive government revenue. Put measures in place for cut down government expenditure. So if you put all of these things, together, I think you do more. But I think say the government necessarily for come out and discuss some of these things in this report.
Yeah. Now, before before I round up, you feel say the public truly understands say mismanagements they really affect them personally. You feel say they understand with people in our country.
The people of this country understand. You go think say they don't understand, but they understand. But we in our country, we people are very peaceful, and that not the way we need for be happy about as a country. We believe say some of these things will go change them through ballot. Now that's the thinking of the Sierra Leonean, that will change some of these things through ballot. But every time when the Sierra Leonean they change government, the worst they happen. Every time when they change government, the worst they happen. Look at a report like this, telling you about mismanagement would lead to $32 million, over expenditure would lead to $32 million in 3 years. We are talking about 7 years. So you take $32 million in 7 years, it's over $60 million. So talk about lack of coordination in government. So these are just things where government can able to do. Where in there is leadership. Leadership is not about saying that I'm the leader. It's about able to coordinate let things done for your people. If you cannot do the basic things for your people, what should they travel for go sell? Who's investor will you go talk to where they can invest? We've been talking about investor, will they go talk to investor? Who done are the new investor who don't get in this country? We not been there before. Who done are the new one? Even in the mining sector.
Think say President Bio face significant challenges, especially with the COVID?
Definitely. I will tell you, see, President Bio face huge challenges with regards to COVID. I think the COVID creates a problem, not just for President Bio, for all governments across the world. We are in, we get problem with food, and not just the COVID, even some of the crises that will happen at the world, the Russia-Ukraine war, and because you look at them parts of the world and then they produce some of the things that they eat, So if you and I make even the report, they tell you, see, if there is some problem, global problem, then there's problem for us. In fact, a certain section of the report, they say, if we get any shock, like COVID or Ebola, we'll not get the money. Salon not get that money there. The country will collapse. It's in this report. If there is any other shock like COVID, we'll get the expertise now for treat COVID, for treat Mpox, for treat Ebola. But if we get that if it gets widespread, this country they shut down. We don't have that resources. So we need for do more for able for generate more money. We need for do more think innovatively out of the box. Government need for think innovatively for able for generate more resources.
Then country they also always suffer from the COVID, the various war around the world. If you follow the progress made in the economy, you they notice it and they recover. But for Salon, all the reports the way they come out, like this what they discuss from the World Bank, it just they shows it either we are stagnant or we they go behind. What is really lacking? Is it a leadership problem or a citizens problem? Salon they face?
For me, I think say the people at the Ministry of Finance and we continue what they can do. So we are resilient. We have a resilient economy. So I know what tell you say we are stagnated. I will tell you say I go use the word. They say we get resilient economy. No, anytime we government want for like give we hope. Now that they tell you when they say you resilient in create, me say you the tower. Even when the team bad, you the tower, you make tough. So now in the tell we say we get an economy with the tower. We get an economy where even things difficult, it can cope. But I believe say the World Bank project say by 2027 we GDP go increase. Would they hope say this projection will come into fruition? But all that depend on government and revenue drive. It depend on the expenditure of government.
But then much activities not go happen. Everybody go focus on politics.
Yes, everybody, even from next year, people will focus on politics. Yeah. But those things, you know, go say because you are the focus on politics, you go shut down the country. The country will not shut down. The economy will still run. the country will still run. You still have a president running the country. You still have ministers running the country.
But the president go focus on in transition.
No.
Because hold on the area, na the party function, na Bintumani say, he go set a record, he go hand over to another SLPP. So the president might be busy campaigning.
That will be determined by the people of this country. Me, I'm not can worry about this statement. And Escomas said worse things than that. I don't worry about those statements. The people of this country know what thing they do then. They know. So for let anybody govern this country, it will be determined by the people of this country. We all see, say, the 2023 election, for example. The 2023 election, it was difficult for the president for winner. Where the Carter Center, the European Union say it lack transparency in tabulation. Imagine the opposition not being get money. They get a candidate way difficult for sale. They had 44%. Despite all the tabulation challenges, the dark processes will happen. And you get the electoral observer, they tell you, see, even at that, the election is supposed to go on off. So for a president, we win an election, we questionable for tell we see he go hand over to a party member. It depends on the people. Now Sierra Leoneans, not all the presidents want. The president now one vote to get. The minister now one vote to get, just like me. The people, the totality of the vote, and they determine who that will govern this country in 2020.
Dixon, you talk about the population, the people there. Yeah. Where we start this discussion, you've been talking about how Salon gets a high demographic of youthful people. We youth them beaucoup.
Yeah.
So young people them so far so good. Would they see they don't lose hope in about Salon? You know, what do you as a young person also? What do you feel saying that the hope we go give to Sierra Leoneans that we don't lose hope, but one gets that hope back?
You know, they get this cliche where they say, "Hence there is life, there is hope." Me na one policy we I believe say we their life, you know, for the only policy where they say we the only policy we don't lost hope. Nothing of the for the policy we don't die. So I know one for let the young people put some of these hardship in their mind. Let them just find something where they do, they get the adequate skills. Let the university, the colleges, let them begin for do training where go able for fit the modern market. Because this whole thing about theories and the root method of education, it don't pass now in the world. Now we are talking about AI. We are talking about all the skills that people should know. Remember where Africa meaning had been come. Some of the skills that they need, manpower what they need. We had to go to Ghana. We had to go to Ivory Coast to get them. The people are not been getting skill in the. So me, the advice to young people, get something to do. Get yourself educated. Not to pass you go university. You can get a skill job where they give you money. You can sabi do business where they give you money. Get there and keep the hope alive.
Finally, Dixon, government officials, there's a pattern coming out after the journalist trying to defend some of these figures, the statistics, even question the journalists, the way they analyze these issues. Because me and you know, say there's a pattern now for let you get government official for speak on critical issues, then go they buffoon you. Yeah. Where you go to this, you say go to this ministry. Where you go to this ministry, you say go to this ministry. And as a media, we get responsibility not for left and thing pass by. Friday, we discussed lengthily the reports them where ban pull on tax exemption, how government they lost money. Today, we discuss the Sierra Leone economic updates. We talk about the missing billions. We talk about the economic challenges. Now for a government, they're supposed to be defensive or therefore embrace some of these reports and try for work on the weaknesses.
For me, I think the issue of government official going after journalists, happen. Me, I don't face a lot of that. And they go, APC, doing APC term, Dixon, SLPP, but two, they not get middle name, they not get first name, not two. Some of these things, not to me to say them. Now report, we analyze them. If you want to forget any problem, go get problem with the World Bank. Not to the journalists we put them out. Now I made the journalists give you opportunity for let you respond. Your duty and for look at this report as government official, not we government information wing, or propaganda wing. Propaganda self, you know, they tell you say you for lie. Propaganda, they say you for accept the truth, who side the truth favor you, embellish them. Now propaganda they tell you for do. But government then focus on not telling the truth, and sometimes they see the truth, then they turn blind eye to them. Or sometimes they keep mute. They no one for talk on the truth. So if a journalist got an information to you, now you duty for respond to the information. We have an access to information law in this country. And the access to information law, they say government for be proactive in giving information. That means a government not for wait, say the journalist come. By right where this report don't cancel, you don't check this report they launch on Thursday last week. We for don't see government now they pull out a press statement because none of them were there. Now the program, the governor of the central bank for give a commentary on the report. We for expect say the governor not being there, but go give a commentary, go write a pager, give a commentary on this report. We expect same from the Ministry of Finance. But if you not do that, the journalists would have a field day. The journalists go get a field day and write what you want for write based on this report. So I not actually bother people questioning the journalists na APC, na SLPP. The journalist is doing his job. And we're all helping the country for let this country go before. There is an interesting comment from the UN Secretary General where you silence the journalist. You silence the people of the country. And that is what they are trying to do. Some of us, we don't go IMC, they don't threat you, they don't care, go cyber law, then they weaponize now the court against we. Even when we do a journalistic role, and they weaponize everything against we. But we keep pushing. We not go tired for talk. We not go tired for right. Hence, me no say, say you are very fair, you call. Before the program they start, you call the FS. It tells you, say, let go call World Bank people. I have never seen a World Bank person discuss World Bank report in this country. I never see a Ministry of Finance and they discuss them with journalists, with civil society. So the journalists make the necessary step for get your side. And that is what the ethics is saying. They say you should make reasonable effort for get the other side. And in journalism, no comment. It's comments. So just as you report now, say the FSA, you don't report in your side. It left now to the government. For me, I think they need for study them. Not forget about the thing that the report is maybe damning some side and they will not let come. But when I look at the recommendation, when I implement them. And most times, most of the recommendation, even the EDSA commercialized for privatizer. Now World Bank recommendation. The last economic update focused on EDSA. The last World Bank economic update focused on EDSA. And one of the recommendations were commodity. Now for privatize the commercial department of EDSA for generating revenue. Because government, they spend lots of money where no budget for pay EDSA in your bill. So just look at those recommendations. Try and implement one or two if you can. Implement them and see the benefits of them.
All right. Thank you, Dixon. Well, now the breakfast show go left you. Friday, I tell una back say salon people them. Unale we adapt the culture of reading. Then reports there, then they out there. Now public documents, like now this Sierra Leone economic updates. This is the 7th edition. Every year, World Bank, they pull this report. Take your time, go na World Bank website, look at some of the things then where the World Bank say go wrong, the missing billions where the World Bank they point at, and some of the recommendation them. Not to follow with just then a social media, they call out the ills of the government or they talk about things them way on a feel say no they happen right. We self as citizens get responsibility for all we leaders they accountable. You they only able for all you leader accountable if you know the issues. If you read some of their reports there, you still be able to come out, all you leader accountable, ask all the necessary questions. As Salon, now we all you, not a one person getter, and some of them leaders here, now we they elect them, they're answerable to we. So all of these reports, they take good time, will they come out, will they discuss the issues them, where World Bank talk about we economy, waiting at the policies, the way they work, the one they will not they work. Una self go back, look for the reports there, and read them. Now they end the breakfast show for today. Many thanks to you who don't join we, and also many thanks to the technical team, Musa Saukoma and Samuel Thomas, that then support the production team for bringing this edition come to you. And also to our studio guest Thomas Dixon, a colleague journalist we don't cover for the World Bank for a very long time. And anytime we World Bank police report through a own newspaper, they put excerpts then they for let people understand some of the issues. And as some of them things there, so we self they can begin to so that una go know the highlights them we come out from the reports. Mina Khadija Bangura, they say have a good day.
Mina Alismaya Mature, they say enjoy your day.